Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural FCPS State of Our Schools. Let's give a round of applause for that inaugural State of Our Schools. As Chief of Staff for Fairfax County Public Schools, it certainly is my honor to be with you all this morning. I'd like to start just by thanking our sponsors for this wonderful event, and you'll have an opportunity to learn more about them a bit later this morning. And then I want to run into actually introducing a few of the dignitaries that we have with us today. We're going to introduce the members of our school board, and so when they stand, if you would please give them a round of applause. Karl Frisch, Chair, Providence District. Sandy Anderson, Vice Chair, Springfield District. Rachna Sizemore-Heiser, Braddock District. Robin Lady, Dranesville District. Marcia St. John Cunning, Franconia District. Melanie Marin, Hunter Mill District. Kyle McDaniel, Member at Large. Ryan McElveen, Member at Large. And Il-Young Moon, Member at Large. Now this morning, everyone in the room is a dignitary, and so we have many elected officials, many dignitaries. So rather than introduce everyone individually, if you could just turn to your shoulder partner and introduce yourself this morning. We'll take a moment to do that. And you are all dignitaries because you are invested in the students of Fairfax County Public Schools. We want to thank you all for your caring commitment today. Today, you'll be hearing from our students, our staff, and our superintendent, Dr. Michelle Reid. My hope is that you'll come away with a deep understanding of why Fairfax County Public Schools is a truly exceptional place to learn and work. You'll learn how we've been transforming lives through the power of public education. And you'll see the important role that each of you have in shaping the future of our students, our schools, and our community. So thank you again for your support. We're so glad that you're here. Next, you'll be hearing from Dr. Lynette Henry, the Executive Director of Educate Fairfax. And with that, let's welcome Dr. Henry.
Good morning. Welcome school, business, and community members, and I apologize for my voice. I just came down with a cold yesterday. My name is Dr. Lynette Henry, and I'm the Executive Director of Educate Fairfax. Welcome. We are the nonprofit foundation that builds partnerships and raises funds solely to support Fairfax County Public Schools. And we couldn't do it without our sponsors, so we want to thank our generous sponsors today. We have Apple Federal Credit Union, and I'm going to call all of them and then have you clap, sorry. Cigna Healthcare, Cots Business, Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, Guernsey Inc., I-66 Express Mobility Partners, Kaiser Permanente, Mosley Architects, and RICO USA. Your contributions made today's event possible and help us to continue our signature programs like the FCPS, Alumni Hall of Fame, and Employee Honors. Educate Fairfax works with FCPS to make a difference in students' lives. One example is the Michael I. Marshall Fund for Music Education, created in memory of a young boy who loved music and wanted to share that love with others. Thanks to his legacy, FCPS students can attend professional music events, receive instruments, private instruction, and scholarships. And you got to hear the Mount Vernon Orchestra today. If they will please stand. And they were out in the hallway. Thank you. Our Kids in Need Fund provides essentials for students, school supplies, laptops, health and hygiene items, and also support food insecurity. The Innovators Fund allows us to work with business and individuals to make strategic investments in support of our strategic plan. And Educate Fairfax grants help fund innovative learning experiences for all students. Recently, we celebrated 8 exceptional alumni at our 3rd FCPS Alumni Hall of Fame. These inductees' diverse accomplishments span military, entertainment, sports, technology, healthcare, social advocacy, architecture, and education, truly representative of our FCPS graduates. Please scan the QR code on your tables to learn more about Educate Fairfax and how you can get involved. And if you're an FCPS alum, consider joining our FCPS Alumni Network. You could be the next Hall of Fame inductee. Thank you for your passion and commitment to education. Together, we are ensuring that every FCPS student has a path to success. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Karl Frisch, the Chair and Providence District Representative on the Fairfax County School Board.
That photo is life-size. My head really is that big. That's why I have the giant iPhone to make it look normal. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. If you think it's too early, the superintendent has been up for 6 hours already, and we're very grateful to have you here. I had the honor of serving on the Fairfax County School Board since 2020 as Providence District Representative and as chair of our board since January. I want to thank my colleagues on the school board for being here again this morning. In the last few years, we've made some major strategic changes coming out of the pandemic. I'm proud to say that those changes are bearing fruit, and Superintendent Reid has some big wins and some big plans to share with all of you this morning. But we're also dealing with some big challenges. Some are unique to us here in Fairfax County, and some are impacting public schools all over the country. It's important that we align on these challenges, what they are and how we can solve them, so that each and every Fairfax County student can thrive, and so that public education can remain the touchstone of our democracy in this country. Because as Dr. Reid often says, this work matters. I think everyone here knows that. And it does matter. And I wasn't going to say this morning because I know it will embarrass her, but Northern Virginia Magazine recently named our superintendent the second most influential person in Northern Virginia, just behind the governor. And just ahead of Jerry Connolly. And I think that speaks to the importance of the work that we do here in Fairfax County Public Schools. Because everything we do in the halls of our schools, in the classrooms, at Gatehouse, on our school board, is all aimed at strengthening our community. Because if we want a strong economy, if we want a strong workforce, if we want strong civic engagement, if we want strong leaders, if we want change makers and innovators, we need strong public schools in our community. And we need strong allies and advocates just like each and every one of you here this morning. You're here because you know how important this work is, and we're grateful to have your support. So please, join me in welcoming our superintendent, Dr. Michelle Reid.
We couldn't be here without all the people, and I want to say that's what does make Fairfax County different, is the people who live here and work here and care about here in ways that are innately special. And that level of work and that passion, that commitment, it makes a difference. And that's why we're here this morning to think about where we've been as a county school division, where we are today and where we're headed. And I couldn't be more excited to be part of a team that does the work that this team does. And I also want to thank our county folks, my counterpart Brian Hill. I know, Brian, you're here somewhere. And thank you for being here, and Jeff McKay and all of our Board of Supervisors as well. So let's go ahead and get started in terms of, we have a little bit of time this morning until 9 o'clock, and I'd just like us to kind of take a breath and center ourselves in the work that our schools do, which is transforming the future. We know education is a catalyst for change, and it is the most important work happening in this country right now. It's about shaping our future and nurturing the spirit of the young people that are looking to us, not just listening to us, but watching us and what we do and how we do it. So I'm thrilled this morning to be here, to be part of the conversation. And as we think about opening up this morning, I couldn't be happier to introduce a couple folks who are going to share a little bit about the where I'm from. So I'd like to invite Principal Jamie Gadley and a student up here, and the, I don't have the next slide, folks. Jamie and Giannina, who are going to come up and talk a little bit about where we're from. So Miss Gadley and Giannina, please come on up.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Gadley, and I am so proud to serve as principal at Dranesville Elementary School, and honored to be here with one of our scholars, Giannina at 10.
Hello, my name is Giannina Aiton, and today I'm going to be sharing my Where I Am From poem. I am from Hunter, my stuffed fox, from Frito-Lay and Nintendo Switch, annoying, screeching hearing aid feedback. I am from Rose, this red and beautiful. I'm from eating grapes under the table at New Year's, and a loving family. From Carla and Elliot, Luca and Lorenzo, I'm from late dinners and bilingual birthdays. From not wearing my street clothes on my bed and not crossing my eyes, or they'll get stuck like that. I'm from Christmas and La Befana, arroz con lentejas and focaccia. I'm from Peru and Italy, from my abuela, who played for the Peruvian national basketball team as a teenager, and my bisnona, Giannina, whom I was named after, and who was also a strong-willed, intelligent, and witty woman. The undeveloped rolls of film, boxes of memories, and the golden tumi hanging on the living room wall, Bisnona's dress form from her years as a seamstress. That is where I'm from.
I am from Jennifer, my first Cabbage Patch Kid. From Comet and Joy. I am from homes filled with grandma's booming laugh and mom's sister friends talking economics and eduspeak. I am from maple trees standing tall on each end of Cornwall Avenue, marking the distance that we could romp until the streetlights came on. I am from read a book a week and write a report before Friday, or you will not be going skating on Saturday. I am from 5 o'clock Mass on Sundays and midnight Mass on Christmas Eve. I am from parties and Anatols. I am from working hard and loving harder. I am from don't cross your eyes, or else they'll get stuck like that. I am from do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I am from Rochester, New York, and New Orleans, Louisiana. I am from hot wings and gumbo filet. I am from great-grandma Adeline, who would make the sweetest pralines and walk to Mass at St. Peter Claver's every day until she gained her wings just before Hurricane Katrina. I am from the strength, wisdom, and love of a lifeline of mothers and grandmothers, and a circle of love of aunties and other mothers. I am from stories written and unwritten, from books yet to be written. I am from a patchwork of love. That is where I'm from.
Thank you, Jamie and Giannina. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. I think one of the things that comes to my mind this morning, and is more so and more so in the past month, is the importance of a story. And we here in Fairfax County have a story. And I want to make sure that when we leave today, one of the goals we have is for you to understand and be able to tell our story. We should never give that to someone else to tell our story. When we give that to other people to tell our narrative or tell our story, it isn't the story that often we want told. So today, we want to make sure that we're providing that narrative and that very clear story of the amazing people, the amazing students, and the amazing staff, and the amazing community partners and elected officials that make this story the best one in this country. So we need to make sure that we are the narrators of our own story. And this morning, our story will be unfolding as we talk about how our world is changing and how our students are changing. We do have some slides that I've shown before, so many of you are familiar with these. But I also want to make sure, for those of you who haven't seen them, that we remember who we are as a county. These are our demographics, and again, we are, in fact, currently the 9th largest school division in the country. We have about 13,500 military-connected students, more than 63,000 economically disadvantaged students. In fact, if our students who qualified for free and reduced lunch were the only students in our division, we'd be the 6th largest in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And you'll see that slide in a few moments. But I want to say that, again, the strength of this county is our diverse perspectives and experiences, our different stories that we bring together to craft a story of our county. Let's go ahead to the next slide, please. Again, we're also one of the largest employers. Mr. Frisch talked about economic engines and economic drivers. We're very proud of the work that our operations staff and our classroom staff do. I think one of the data points I've been most excited about this year is many of you have read around the country there have been transportation challenges for school divisions. Here in Fairfax County Public Schools, our transportation department, by day 4, on the 4th day of school, we had 98% of our routes running on time. That's an incredible data point for any business, much less a school division. And I just couldn't be prouder of our staff and the care and the passion they bring to that work. The next slide will demonstrate kind of what I was talking about in terms of where we sit in the Commonwealth. Again, in the yellow, that first yellow bar would be the number of students, again, the 6th largest division in the Commonwealth on free and reduced lunch. Our multilingual students would be the next bar. If we just took our students who are multilingual, we'd be the 9th largest division in the Commonwealth. And the final yellow bar, the 11th largest division in the Commonwealth, would be our students who qualify for special education services. So by any measure, we're a county that has huge impact in the Commonwealth. Next slide, please. I think one of the things that we think about when we think about our changing demographics, first and foremost, is our students and how they're changing. And each of us have a role in mentoring how these students are able to perform moving forward. So let's take a look at a couple of those slides, and we'll walk through those fairly quickly. Again, these are our seniors, 1976 on the far left to 2018 on the far right, and this is the percentage of those 12th graders who've had a driver's license. We are fundamentally dealing with students who have different interests than they did in 1976, where some of us might have been approaching that senior year in high school or maybe just past it. So next slide, please. This would be the same number of 12th graders who tried alcohol. What a great data point, right? We're making progress on that. Next slide, please. I think this one is compelling as we think about preparing our students for a workplace. Again, many of us, I think, had jobs when we were in high school, and currently, many seniors have not. Next slide. Again, seniors who have dated. When we think about relationships and how we form those, it's critical to think about those differences in what we think and what our students think. Summary slide, please. As we think about this particular nexus, it's important, and fundamentally I'm going to say it constantly, and I know we believe this, we have to prepare our students for their future and not our past. Too often, when we get uncomfortable, we double down on things we knew and understood and what worked for us. That will not work for this next generation of students. We must think about the future of our young people and not the comfort of what we understood in our past. Next slide, please. This slide is, I think, one of the more compelling job slides. Again, tying this work to economics, I want to remind us that in 1940, 6 out of the 10 jobs today didn't exist. 6 out of the 10 jobs today are new that did not exist in 1940. 65% of our kids in K-12 classrooms are preparing for a career that does not exist yet. And when you look at the line that goes up, those are the 8.2 million jobs since 2007 and 8, the recession, that have been created that require post-secondary degree. The line that goes across the bottom since 2007-8 lists the 5.6 million jobs that have been lost since the recession that only required a high school diploma. That is why a high school diploma or a graduation rate as good as ours is not enough. We need to prepare Fairfax County Public School students to get jobs or to be able to go on to post-secondary education successfully when they leave us. It's not enough just to get a diploma. And when you start to think about standard and advanced diplomas, there's a big conversation we're going to need to have in our community about which of those launch our students in ways that will support a lifetime of excellence for themselves and their families. After all, we need to remember that the quality of the public education we provide is not about the time children spend with us in our schools. It's about the trajectory of the rest of their lives we set them on. And that's a very different purpose, and it's a compelling purpose, and it's part of our ask and our mission and our story today. Next slide, please. This is a slide that I think is compelling for us who believe in public education. Since the pandemic, over the last couple years, almost 700,000 students have left public education in this country. That's a rate that is exponential. It's unknown in this amazing country. And when I think about it, one of the things the states, California, New York, Illinois, Michigan, and Washington have lost 680,000. And the states that have gained, Alabama, Utah, Louisiana, Florida, and Texas, have only gained 60,000 of those. That is a huge data point, folks. It is a wake-up call around the need to support public education. And if we're going to maintain high expectations, we must have high support. So, in North Carolina, that borders Virginia, 1 in 4 public school students is no longer attending public school. 1 in 4. That's a data point that's a call to action. So, next slide, please. This is a public perception of schools, and one could argue maybe this is what's leading to that data point I just shared. I will tell you the top line is the amount, the satisfaction with your local school. Everyone loves their neighborhood school. My school is great, right? Now, the middle line, that blue line, is the division. Can't figure out what those people do. right? The school division, that central office, I don't know what in the world, but we don't feel as positive about those people. That would be me and central office colleagues, right? But our principals we love, right? We love our schools and our teachers. And then the bottom line is our national education system. We don't know what's going on there, right? So the closer to home, the more positive, the further away. So again, our need to tell our story is important. Next slide, please. So at this point, we're going to walk through our strategic plan, and we're going to start with goal 1, because to address the issues I just raised, here's our plan. So next slide. Essentially, many of you were part of this process, and our plan has 5 goals and 4 pillars. Next slide. Goal 1 is our pre-K goal, and this is a critically important goal around preschool. And I know everyone in the room has had a conversation about this at one time or another. Next slide, please. One of the things that we know is if we have high-quality pre-K instruction, we see a 6% increase in high school graduation and close to a 6% increase in college attendance just as a result of quality early preschool. In this area, in our county right now, we're still only serving 39% of our income-eligible preschool students. So we have work to do in this category. When you look at the data point as well, you see the 69% of students who are ready at the end, and 76 of those who had pre-K experiences are doing or meeting standards, whereas fewer than 40% are able to meet standards if they did not have some kind of preschool. These are compelling data points. If we're talking about achievement gap closing work, it happens with our children at their very youngest. Next slide, please. Oh, I think we're going to take a look at a video in terms of our commitment to expanding inclusive preschool. So let's go ahead and roll video, please.
Inclusive pre-K classrooms are so important for our division because it allows us the opportunity to have children under the age of 5 learning together, both children with disabilities and without. So right now we are offering a variety of community experiences for our children. We have inclusion classrooms, we have inclusive opportunities throughout the day where children can come together to learn, and we are also offering community peer opportunities where we're inviting kids from the community to come into our classrooms.
There are some interesting choices of things I thought lots of little people could do together.
We plan weekly together to talk about the different learning experiences and what themes we're going to use. We, as a preschool team, work really hard to make sure that all students that are in these inclusion opportunities are really getting a chance to show and learn new skills, whether they're in the general education classroom or in the special education classroom.
Good job! Whee!
Everybody has strengths to contribute. Students with special needs have special needs in certain areas, and they have great, fantastic strengths in other areas. And so coming together and learning that together we are better, together we are stronger, and learning that from the very young age is a wonderful way to prepare for life.
To give our children that opportunity in an early childhood classroom, it's exciting. It's important for our community. It's important for our children.
Excellent. Equity and opportunity.
Well, that looked like a lot of fun. Yeah, that looked like a lot of fun. It's been fabulous to have a chance to be out in schools and see our youngest learners. So as we think about this, I also want to think about how are we doing as a county in our commitment to our multilingual learners. So let's take a look at the next slide and see the growth that's been appreciated over the last year. And I want to say that I could not be prouder of our educators, our elected school board in setting this direction, and our community for sharing how important this is. But last year, year over year, we saw an increase of 11% in our multilingual language proficiency increase. That is significant. We haven't seen double-digit gains in recent memory, I think. We're planning a number of supports, and our team is just so excited about the progress we're making. We're going to be piloting home language curriculum resources, as well as different models for instructional strategies, and we are thrilled about the progress we are making. Next slide, please. We're going to move to goal 2, which is really exciting. Goal 2 is the safe and supported goal, and we're going to talk a little bit about the progress we've made in our chronic absenteeism. Also want to share, Dr. King is here and her team with the restorative justice practices. We now have 315 facilitators trained, and when we said we're going to roll this initiative out, it's no joke. We are rolling this initiative out, right? And one of the exciting things, it's being rolled out across the county, not just as in spots and places, but consistently across the county. And 81% of all of our schools now have at least one trained facilitator. And that's going to matter when it comes to outcomes. We're also really committed to student voice. I really appreciate our students that are here today, our Superintendent Advisory Council students. If you could stand and be recognized, I'd love it. Our SEALs. Thank you. Yes, our student equity leads and our advisory council members. Student voice matters because, honestly, that's why we're all here, is for our students. So let's take a look at our absenteeism data. This is another data point that just makes me like crazy happy. When you think about a division our size, to have 97% of our schools actually improve their attendance last year, that's incredible. And again, just huge thanks to the teamwork of our educators, and truly, it does take a team. It's not any one person in the system, it is the entire system deciding to line up our resources and our energy to make a difference. And we proved that when we make a commitment to something, we can move the needle, and we're moving the needle on a variety of data points. So let's take a look at school environment next. And this is an area where we really are committed to our fine and performing arts. We've been named one of the best communities for music education 11 times nationally. That is a huge accolade, and I think we've seen evidence of that here this morning. When you think about what our young people do, everything that our young people do takes discipline, practice, commitment, and belonging to something improves our mental health. And for too long, I think, and we also are susceptible to that feeling of isolation. And when young people can be part of a group that's singing or dancing or competing or fill in the blank, building robots, that makes a difference. And just your support and resources to support that are priceless. So let's talk about our Purple Star Division goals next. And this is a commitment we've said within the next 2 years we want to become a Purple Star Division, not just have 69 Purple Star schools. So we're committed to that, and we continue to grow our Purple Star schools. Next slide, please. Goal 3. Let's take a look at Goal 3. Next up, please. One of the things we're talking a lot about with Goal 3 is thinking about having college-eligible or post-secondary apprenticeship courses available. So currently, FCPS offers more than 100 college-level either AP, IB, or dual enrollment courses, and 75% of our students are taking advantage of that currently. One of our goals this year with our high school principals is we're going to be looking at our academic intensity of course-taking patterns across the entire division, and I can't wait. Let's talk a little about our math pass rates. I think there's been a lot of discussion about the importance of different content areas, and some of you who know me know I might have a predisposition to math and science. Remembering that math limits 84% of our career choices, and who couldn't love math, right? Math is pretty amazing, as well as science and literacy. So here, what you're able to see is that we've appreciated a number of increases in advanced math course-taking patterns, as well as our overall performance in mathematics, and we're very excited about that. Our next slide talks about our commitment to Algebra 1 by 8th grade. And we are continuing to improve on our percentage of students. And the reason this is important is because the Office of Civil Rights tracks the number of students who complete algebra in 8th grade for school divisions across this country. And why do they track that? Because if you complete algebra in 8th grade, you're twice as likely to go on to post-secondary education. it is a critical data point. It's a gatekeeping data point. And it's a data point that we're taking seriously, and I really appreciate our principals and educators for their work on that. I will say that one thing is not just an 8th grade issue, it's a K through 8th grade issue. How many of you spend time going out and visiting schools, or maybe have students who are kindergartners, 1st graders, 3rd graders, right? So just for a quick second, I want to share the big ideas in mathematics. When I'm in a kindergarten classroom and I see somebody adding mice and butterflies, I almost pass out. Why? Because you cannot add mice and butterflies. You can't add things that aren't the same. Because when you get to 3rd grade and do fractions, you can't add 1/3 and 1/4, and why can't you? You have to make it 1/12, right? Because you can only add and subtract the same thing. So if you got confused in kindergarten by adding mice and butterflies, fractions are going to be harder. And if fractions are harder, what happens when you have to add x's and y's in algebra? You can't do it, can you? You can only add x's and x's and y's, right? So the big idea in mathematics starts in kindergarten. Anytime you're around a very young person, do not let them add mice and butterflies or anything that's not the same. That's a big idea in mathematics, a through line. So let's move on to literacy. It's important. I just think if we're all vigilant, our students will be ready for algebra in 8th grade. We just need to be vigilant. Thinking about all of our literacy work, this is incredible work that our office has continued. And one of the things that is really important is that with our literacy work this year, 89% of our staff work with students who are multilingual. Think about that. 89% of our staff work with students who are multilingual. So we're also working on that parallel track. More to come on how we're thinking about micro-credentialing. Next slide, please. Oh my goodness, we get to talk goal 4. I can't wait. Equitable access and opportunity. Next slide, please. So here's something I think that's been really fun as well, almost as fun as math and science, honestly, is our extracurricular, our co-curricular activities, and kind of the gains we've made in this area. The Math and Science Olympiad at our Title I schools across the entire division. Also, just a reminder that Fairfax County was among the first school divisions in Virginia to set middle school robotics clubs. And recently, I was at Hayfield Secondary School for a regional robotics competition. And honestly, we're going to have some of our boys volleyball players come on up. And actually, why don't you come on up now while I'm finishing this? But I had some of our robotics kids, as I was making comments, say, we know you're excited about boys volleyball and some other things, but we go 100% pro. I was like, what? And they said if they're in robotics and they get a job in that career, 100% of them go professional. And I thought, okay, they've got that. So I want to talk about AVID, which is increasing, as well as our FLES program. So one of the exciting parts of our addition to this year's program is boys volleyball. So I thought it would be fun to invite a couple of our boys volleyball players here, because that's a new sport in Fairfax County, but not a new Olympic sport, right? It's a fabulous one. So young men, why don't you introduce yourselves, and then we'll have a couple questions here.
All right. I'm Seth Ludlow. I'm a senior at Langley High School.
My name is Logan Eaton. I'm a senior at West Springfield High School.
All right. Can we share with the community here what is the benefit of boys volleyball this year, the biggest benefit that you're seeing?
I can take this first. So biggest benefit I've seen, of course, this is a fun sport. We get a better physical health. But I think more than that, volleyball is a great community. In volleyball, the whole team needs to be cohesive. If you're not cohesive, then you're not going to play well. And so it fosters a very friendly and loving environment. I've made some great friends on my volleyball team that I otherwise wouldn't have made. So I would say the community is the best benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Playing boys volleyball has gotten me the opportunity to play a varsity sport. Being in high school, I played volleyball my whole life, but I never got to play it at the varsity level. And I think getting to play in front of crowds and in front of a bunch of people with high stakes, it just is a super fun environment to play in, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
I mean, you gotta love our kids. So what do you think about the students who advocated for this? Because this hasn't been a sport, over the last several years that Fairfax is recognized?
I'll take this one. I personally was not one of the students who advocated for boys volleyball, but I know Seth was, and I mean, I just want to give a huge thank you to them because I'm reaping the benefits of it, right? I mean, I am enjoying school so much right now, getting to be a student athlete, and so just give a huge thank you to them.
Yeah, also, I want to say thank you to all the school board members, all the people that made this happen, all the students that have been advocating for years before me, Rob Bailey, my mom, tons of other parents, tons of other students who have made this possible for me and Logan to both enjoy this year, and we couldn't be more grateful.
All right, so what has the experience taught you, if you had to think about lessons that you've learned, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's taught me a lot of resilience. I mean, it's volleyball. There's a lot of close, tough games, and you got to be uplifting and supportive to your teammates. You can't ever get down on them. A big thing about volleyball is it's very emotion-based. If your whole team is down, your whole team is going to play bad. So you got to be able to bring each other up, and I think that's a very applicable skill for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the biggest skill I've learned is, aside from volleyball skills, positivity, keeping my team up when I make a mistake, when my team makes a mistake, not getting down on them. As Logan said, if you lose a momentum, you're going to lose the game. So
lastly, what would you say to somebody who might be watching this, sitting on their couch, not thinking they could actually do this? What would you say to those future volleyball wannabes?
Yeah, I mean, I would say go for it. Me, for example, I haven't really played club volleyball, only backyard volleyball, until this high school season started. And so go for it. If you have something and you set your mind to it, you practice a lot, you're gonna get better. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, a lot of my teammates and a lot of people I know I've met around the county have never played volleyball before. However, they've found some real talent, something they truly love out of volleyball, and I think that's great.
All right, let's give it up for Seth and Logan. I think that what Seth and Logan shared is that a lot of the activities, whether it's athletics, dance, theater, band, music, robotics, really teach us about life, right? It's not just about the volleyball, but I think you all understand that. Also excited about middle school track and cross country, which we started this year. And if you are not doing something this Saturday morning at Liberty Middle School is the first annual Fairfax County Public School Middle School Cross Country Championships. So can't wait for that. And I won't be running this week, but I'm really excited about our young people. So this brings us to goal 5, our last goal. So next slide, please. As we think about goal 5 and launching our young people, remember what I said about it's not about the amount of work or effort that happens within our time that students are with us. It's about that trajectory of the rest of their lives that's so important. We're really excited to share that our graduation rate continues to climb. This is a 4-year on-time graduation rate for a school division that's the 9th largest in this country. That's incredible. You have to be very proud of that and of all our educators for the work that goes into making sure our students graduate on time. I also want to thank our community partners such as EduFuturo and others who have helped with our graduation rates. One of the most fun stories I've had a chance to interview this year is Heyman Bakella, who's a sophomore at Woodson High School, go Cavaliers. And Heyman is our Time Kid of the Year and is exemplary of what skills and passion and sort of outlook one might need to become a Time Kid of the Year. Let's take a video and hear from Heyman this morning.
Today, I'm having an opportunity to speak with Heyman Bakella, who is a sophomore at Woodson High School. And Heyman was brought to my attention and the entire nation's attention by being named our Time Kid of the Year. So when do you first remember being that curious and thinking, I love science?
I guess a big part of STEM is not even the science, but the innovation, the curiosity, like you were saying. And I was so lucky to have that exposure from a really young age. And so for as long as I can remember, I've just had the opportunity to do these little experiments and learn new things and read so many different books and go to the library. So it's been a long time in the coming, and it definitely didn't start at cancer research. It came up brick by brick. A lot of what we learn in school can actually be applied to individual niche passions that you would never even know about. So stick to what you're passionate about, because at the end of the day, the best way to learn is when you're actually having fun.
Give me an experience. Share something that you recall that really was meaningful.
It's a good question. I would say that maybe as early as I came into the county in kindergarten, and the lessons and the things that I were being taught weren't even necessarily the most scientific in the terms of learning science, as in concrete definitions or concepts, but rather they were always great, and even to this day as a 10th grader, great at showing more like innovation, creativity, letting you choose your path. So whether we were, I don't know, building our own homes using Legos in kindergarten, or now we're doing so many different types of labs in science and bio and chemistry, there's always been this kind of choose your own adventure, but at the same time be innovative, be creative, and just give a great final product. And those experiences are what have kind of shaped my curiosity today.
Right. I just am so inspired by you, Heyman, and I really look forward to all that you're going to do, and appreciate you using your superpowers for such good.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
You know, one of the things that Heyman said is how important curiosity was to him, and I think that's good advice for all of us to stay curious just a little longer about a lot of topics, very likely. So let's move to goal 5, and a lot of excitement here. Well, actually, we have our 4 pillars first, and these pillars look at our operational work and our operational employees and the operational supports around our HR practices, budget, our school system dynamics and technical work, facilities, design and construction, food, nutrition. All of our departments have to be aligned and working very hard. I know we've taken our KPI, our key performance indicator in HR, from the time of application to the time of being able to be ready for a position from 38 days to 9, and that's a huge improvement. So we're also, one of the things I think that's so important about that is that, again, we want to make sure we're providing the best service across the board to our students and our prospective staff, as well as our current staff. One of the other pillar data points that I'm really proud of is over the last 2 years, we have decreased our teacher departure rate by 37%. So that's a huge data point around retention. So I think that lastly in this area around pillars is our Fairfax Youth County Survey. And it really demonstrates, you're going to hear a lot more of our Youth County Survey that we do in partnership with our county, but our students are demonstrating a higher level of mental health and a much, I think, more positive outlook than they have been over the last several years. So we're excited about that. So thinking about closing thoughts this morning, we've spent some time together hearing from our students. We've spent some time together seeing our students perform and having an opportunity to listen and observe a variety of content and topic areas. So I'm going to leave you with just a couple closing thoughts. I remember we started this with the importance of telling our story, right? And the importance of telling our story is critical. I hope you've heard some data points or have something that when you leave here and someone says Fairfax County Public Schools, you have a data point or a story that lifts up that conversation. Because, again, it's important that we have the story and that we carry our narrative out into our community and serve and continue to serve as a beacon for our country in the ability to do the work we're doing. Remembering to maintain these high expectations require high support. This work doesn't just happen. It's the result of people coming together, much like our volleyball players, our footloose dancers, our orchestra players. If we can come together with a common purpose, we can do anything. We can move mountains. And we already are starting that path. I know we've got this. Again, we need to remember to plan for our young people's future and not our past. It's critical. And finally, I think one of the things that I tell our staff all the time is if we walk by an inequity or mediocrity, we have lost the moral authority to lead. Everyone in this room is a leader. That's why you're here. And if we walk by an inequity in our community or a mediocre data point and don't attend to it, we have lost the moral authority to lead. This community and this amazing country are counting on us in this room to be the model, to prove that it can work, that public education is that cornerstone and foundation of our democracy, as Mr. Frisch said earlier. Together, all things are possible. Thank you for being here this morning, and thank you for your partnership.